Hello, it's Susie from the Speckled Loon going live today for another Craft With Me session. We will be going live in about 2 minutes, but before that, I always just like to check to make sure it comes up on Facebook and YouTube and there's volume. So I'm going to be looking away from the screen for a minute while I do that to see if we're going. And then I will be right back with you. Oh, okay, I see it on Facebook. And testing it on YouTube. Yep. Okay. Hi, Susie from the Speckled Loon. Hope you're having a great Monday. I'm going to stop that so we don't have any feedback, and I'm going to turn off my notifications to vibrate. So if I get a call, it doesn't disturb us. Okay. So we are ready. We are going to get going at 1 o'clock sharp to paint some tags. While we're doing that, I'm going to get down some of our mini decor sets here to talk about. Okay. All right. How is everybody doing? Just shy of 1 o'clock. I hope you had a great weekend. It's Monday, May 20th, 2024 here. And if you are on, if you can say hi in the comments, I would appreciate it. Susan already has done that. Hello, Susan from Florida. And I'm looking forward to seeing your comments, hearing your feedback, etc. Today, we are going to be working with projects in our summer DIY decor kit that will launch tomorrow to the public for purchase. So I have a quarterly subscription box, and in it you get all the pieces are unfinished. What you're seeing behind me and here is the finished project. But you get base pieces and then 3 different themes that can be interchanged in and out of those base pieces. The one you're looking at here today is all decorated with the 4th of July pieces, and I'll kind of show you how things swap out. And we've got 2 really fun bonuses this month. Your decor bonus that is done for you is this beautiful wood bead garland. You don't have to do anything other than take it out of its package, and it's going to come. Hello, Stacy. And accent, look at how nice it accents that 4th of July and all the other, kind of has some rustic summer colors in there and really would almost match fall decor too. And that's just an accent to add a little decor accent to your shelf or whatever. You can see behind me, I have them hung on the shelf there. And there's 2 other sets that come in here, and I will show you pictures of those up close, and then we will get crafting. So this is how everything looks. See how it looks with the 4th of July? This is how everything looks with the farmer set. So what you've got here is over here is this cutting board tags that we're going to be doing today. The one for 4th of July is this star. The one for the farm set is this weather vane. And then there's one more theme, which is ice cream shop. And the tag for that one is an ice cream cone. And that's what we're doing. But you can see with each set, the little hat for the gnome, it switches out, and what the gnome hold changes. So this is the gnome. I've got her. She's in the same color. She's got the 4th of July decor on. And then in this one, she's got a different hat, and she's holding an ice cream cone. So that is the gist of it. And then everything in here changes. The little circle, the banner, everything changes that's inside of it as well. So that is how our summer box works. And if you want to join our summer box, it is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And I've also got it pinned up it'll be like the first comment underneath all the comments. So that is what's going on, and that launches tomorrow. And first it launches to the wait list. That's why you need to join that wait list, because you're going to get an email tomorrow morning saying, hey, it's ready. I have a few openings. I never have a ton. It's usually less than 10 that we open up every month. So they get first crack at it. And then if they don't take them up, then I come on and let the general public know. But the best way, if you want to get, is to hop on our wait list, and then you will get notified tomorrow morning when I've got it open for you and ready to purchase. So we will talk about today's projects. I'm going to just set a few things out of the way, and then we're going to move the camera to be an overhead camera over my table so you can see what I am crafting, and it's clear to you. But I'm just going to put these back up here. I often get questions about these little shelves that I use for my sets, and they were plant stands I got last summer at Hobby Lobby in their spring decor. They're called spring decor section, and they have all kinds of plant stands, and they kind of look like a big chair. I really like them for our sets. It makes it very easy to display. Then if you want to put something down in front, you can, or hang things off the back, which I find quite handy. So put that back. And this is the cutting board that we will be putting everything on. It's just this little cute little round cutting board, and it comes with a stand. And that's what we will be putting all of our items on. In fact, I should take one and have one. I will just take it off of this so we have one when we are doing our decor, so I can show you what it looks like on there. So I'll set that down. Set that down. And keep the stand over there, and we will start crafting in just a minute. And in the meantime too, if you have any questions about the box, you can reach out to me via message. If you don't want to do it publicly in the comments, that's fine. And if you go to that wait list, of course, there's no obligation or no cost, and you can reply to anything with a question there too. So all right, so let's get our project's ready to go here. I am going to be lifting up this camera and bringing it down on an overhead view. So you're going to get a little ride here in just a minute. But I'm just lowering this. This just makes it so I can mount the camera here, and then you can see what I'm doing at an overhead view. And then when I'm done crafting, we'll switch it back so you'll see my face and not just hear my voice. So, and again, happy Monday to everybody. Here you go. Hope you're having gonna have a great week. Our sun is finally shining here. We've had a lot of cloudy days. We had Canadian wildfires, then we had thunderstorms and showers. So there's a closer look at that garland if you wanted to see. The other bonus in this kit is a bonus crafting tool, and we will be using it today. And that consists of this bottle of antique wax, an emery board. This one's kind of well loved, but we're going to use that to distress some pieces. And then these two little stiff bristled brushes that you can use to do some applying of the antique wax, blending, and things along the edge, stippling, that type of thing. They're a nice stiff bristle brush. So this is quite a premium gift too. I've got that done for you garland and this, and I kind of beefed up the prizes because it's our first anniversary box. So this is really fun. And this little bottle of antique wax a little bit goes quite a long way. So I'm going to just set those aside, and then when we need them, we're going to grab them because we will be using this on a couple of the projects. So our tags consist of, each one comes with string and a little bread tie, twist tie to thread the string and the little bead through for the display. It comes with a base piece. So for the 4th of July, this is your base piece, and then it comes with an overlay. All right. And then we've got, for the ice cream cone, this is your base piece, and this is your overlay. And then for the weather vane, it is this kind of a tobacco basket background. And then this rooster is your overlay, and the overlays just are engineered to go right on top. And this is how the things come in the kit. They are unfinished like this, all right? And you can use paint, you can use paint markers. We're going to use the antique wax. You can use all sorts of things to finish them off. But this is how they come, and they come packaged and labeled. And the projects are color-coded, so you know what goes with the farm, what goes with the 4th of July, etc. So we are going to start out to do the 4th of July one first. So I'm going to set these aside. And just for reference, this is what the finished one looks like. Okay, this is what our aim is to get. And we are going to go over a couple of options with that. But I'm going to just set our other ones aside that we do not need right now. So we are going to be working with this overlay piece and the base. And now you can see this is engineered. So when it's done, it can go straight on like this, or it can go at any angle that you want it to be. I think that's what I did there. Okay, turn it one more time. It looks like this. Turn it one more time, and it looks like that. So you can decide after you have it all painted the angle that you want it at. If you want it straight or at one of those angles, you really have those choices. It's a even star, so whatever way you turn it is going to be the way that you can decorate it. Now, for our purposes today, what I have done is I've went ahead and I've already painted the overlay white because I want to keep that white. And we're going to use paint on the back part, and we are going to do that red. So I'm just going to move a couple of things here because we don't need all the string and everything in our way as we're trying to craft. Okay, I'll move that out of the way. Keep this over here for inspiration. And I'm going to show you the paint that I like to use, but that's the one thing in our kit. I do not include the paint because everybody has a brand of paint that they like. If you have a brand of paint that you like, you use it. And if you have a brand that you like and you're watching, put it in the comments. Some people like what I use, which is the Waverly brand of chalk paint. And this red is a real pretty, it's called crimson, and it's like a Christmas red to me. It's very nice. And this bottle of paint is super thick, and you can get this big 16-ounce size at Walmart. You can get an 8-ounce size, or in your store, you can get it online on walmart.com. But this is the brand that I use for when I'm making my multiple projects for craft fairs, and these items that I paint everything up for the boxes. So I'm going to just open this. I'm going to give it a little shake off camera. And you don't need much. So what I'm going to do is open this. You can see that nice deep red in there. Give it a little stir. Well, it's pretty well stirred. I used it the other day. And I'm just going to put a very little bit on here because you don't need much. All of the projects, other than the bigger base, the barn, and most of the projects in this kit are the size of the palm of your hand or smaller. So they're very quick and easy to do. They are easy to finish with your paint markers, etc. Okay, I'm just going to set the red paint off to the side and out of the way. A, with the lid on, and B, so I don't spill. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and if I need more, I'll put it on there, but I am going to get a little bit of on this sponge, and I include these sponges in your bag as well as some glue and some other things for you to finish. You get some toothpicks and some of these nice flat end swabs with this little tip to do detail work, cleanup work, etc. So you just spread it on, and this is a makeup wedge sponge, and look how nice that goes on with no streaks, no paint marks, no brush strokes, no nothing. It goes on very smooth, kind of like you're putting your foundation makeup on. These are a nice, very dense foam sponge. I kind of did my research and found a really good brand to work with, and that's what I order them in bulk, and you get 4 of them with every kit. And when the paint dries up, all you need to do is snip this off the bottom, and then you can use it. And if you need just a little bit of paint, you can put the paint on this narrow end, or you can cut this in half and make it smaller. So you have lots of options. So really those 4 could turn into 8 sponges quite easily. And I'm going over the top like this. Now, I'm going to just make sure I have it good and evenly covered. I'm going to take it off and give it a good once over with my eyes up close because I have bad vision and I like to get up close. I'm just spreading it out, and I'm doing my best not to get a bunch on the edges. I like to keep my edges clean. If you would rather, you could certainly paint your edges. I find it makes more of a mess if I try to paint the edges. It just doesn't look as clean. So I like that nice, crisp, dark edge I get because I cut these on a laser, and that's just the natural edge you get. And then when this dries, to finish this piece off, all we have to do is glue that over the top. But I'm going to set this aside out of the way so it's going to dry while we work on our next piece. Okay. So the next piece we're going to work on is our rooster and our tobacco basket. Okay. That is part of the farm set. And the nice thing about this one, it's all done. This middle of the rooster, this little post that he sits on, lines right up with the middle of the tobacco basket. So there's just no guesswork whatsoever. And we are going to work on this tobacco basket. We are going to use on the base part our antique wax. We're going to put it on with a sponge, and then we're going to rub it in with a cloth. And I don't know if you can see this on here or not, but it's got some little grooves to kind of give it that basket look. We want that antique wax to settle in those grooves because it gives it more of a finished look, I guess, or darker and lighter in different places. And then this, I am going to paint black, but instead of using paint, I'm going to use a paint marker and show you how that works. I'll tell you the brand that I use as I'm using it. We're going to use 2 or 3 different brands today, and then you can figure out what kind of paint marker you like best. So the first thing I'm going to do, just going to get rid of some of this red. I'm just going to stick that in there. First thing we're going to do is the antique wax. So I'm going to take some antique wax, and I'm going to put a little squirt on here. And you do not need much. This is a 2-ounce bottle, and this is going to last you for a very long time if all you're working on is these small projects. But it's kind of what it does is it acts like a stain. It's like if you were putting a stain on it, but stain is often not water-based, and it's smelly, and this stuff dries really quick. It's easy to work with, and it's water-based, and it's got when it's done, it kind of has a protective wax look to it, but it goes on shiny, but it dries matte. So this is what we're using, is this antique wax, and that is a bottle of that is in your kit this time. I've used it in every video, and it's like, well, I should give it to my subscribers. But you can see how that goes on, and you just get that beautiful stained look, and it's so easy. And if you get a little extra in there, you just kind of wipe it away. But that is what that looks like going on, and I am a big fan of it. Now, the brand that I'm giving you is Folk Art. You can also find some Waverly at Walmart. They're made by the same company. They're made by Plaid Paints. They're basically the same thing, but I just couldn't get 2-ounce bottles in my normal brand. So I just got them in this, and it's the exact same thing. I've worked with them both. So, and that Plaid Paints, they have Folk Art. They have, they make the apple barrel paint that you find in Walmart. They make a lot of different paints, and you can go on their website at any time and see their whole family of paints. You can buy them all online on, I think it's called Plaid Online or something like that. You can go on their website and buy everything online except for the stuff that they sell at Walmart. You have to buy that direct from Walmart. Okay, so that's what this looks like on the front. And if you can see those little the little cracks that they have in there, it's kind of settled in there. And what I'm going to do is, just because I'm going to go on the back side of this piece. I don't normally always do the backs, but I'm just going to continue to show you how easy it is. And then what we're going to do is, if it's too goopy in any place, I have an old ripped up t-shirt here that we can use. But this antique wax really, really makes a difference. Now I see, and I'm going to just highlight this comment here. Susan has said, pardon me while I find my mouse, that she likes the Waverly as well. Yeah, it's really, the colors, there's such a great variety, and it's of course, like everything, it has went up in price, but for these small projects, an 8-ounce bottle will last you forever. It will last you a long time. The only reason I get the big 16-ounce bottles is because I do so many projects in a year, because I sell my finished projects at craft fairs. If I wasn't doing that, I would never need any more than an 8-ounce bottle. So to kind of even this out, I'm just doing a wipe with my, just an old t-shirt. I like old socks, old t-shirts. Now I see I kind of got, oh, I forgot a little piece of masking there. There's one little part there that was discolored. Old socks, old t-shirts are great for applying your stain light thing. And here's a pro tip too, is if you like that stained look, you can get it with, you don't need to buy colored stain. You can take any paint and add a little water to it and then wipe it on with a wet rag. And then you're going to get a red stain or a blue stain or whatever color stain that you want that would match your projects. And it's just in a lighter shade. And then you can put a painted piece on top of it in that same shade, and it looks really, really sharp. So look how nice that basket turned out. It went from that plain finish. Now, if you wanted, you could just do that. That's kind of a nice contrast. But that tobacco basket is that natural color, and it doesn't set it off as nice. I like to do the black on the rooster just to kind of give it that farmhouse look. That farmhouse look to me means brown stained wood and black, whites, and grays. That's to me farmhouse. And then a rustic look of sanding things down, etc. So I'm going to, while this dries, we're going to get to work on our rooster. Now for my smaller pieces, sometimes what I like to do, and this rooster's kind of big, but we'll do it anyway, is I like to take a piece of tape, loop it over, and stick it down to my plate. And then it's just not moving. And then I move my plate and it basically frees up a hand for me. And so that's what we're going to do with this. And we're going to take a black marker. Now this is a Sharpie creative marker. And this is a brand new marker. They just are brand new marker to me, but it's also brand new to the market. And they come in this brush tip, which we're going to use today. And they also come in a bullet tip. And this is what it looks like. And it goes on and it's got great coverage and it does dry matte. So that's nice. And when I'm using the brush tip on these bigger pieces, I just go like this. And you can see the beautiful coverage I'm getting with this already. I really like the paint markers, especially for like smaller projects. The smaller the project, the easier it is. You can, of course, use our Q-tips, small art brushes, but to get that coverage and get that detail, the markers just make it so much easier. Sometimes you just want to get right up against those edges. But this Sharpie brand, it's available widely. If you go on to Amazon and search Sharpie creative markers, or I believe they have them online at like your big box stores, Target, Walmart, etc. And they might even have them in the stores. I have not seen them in the stores yet, but they sell them in a 5-pack or a dozen pack. I would recommend the dozen pack. The 5-pack for me personally doesn't have enough colors in it, but it is quite nice. Okay. So we'll get up close to this in a minute to make sure I haven't missed any. But I'm probably going to just do one coat on this simply because we are going for that more rustic look because it's a farmhouse project, this particular one. If it was going to be something like, oh, a black tire or a black hat brim or something, I would maybe do 2. But it's soaking in nice and I'm getting some even coverage. And I'm going to go around and distress it anyway, so that if I don't have 100% coverage on this, as long as I've got mostly. And as it dries, it will lose any splotchy look that it does have. It looks pretty even on camera. I can see a bit here or there where it might need touch up. But that is the coverage you get with those that Sharpie Creative brand marker, and they are a paint marker. They're not the regular ink of Sharpie, so they don't have that smell. They're pretty much odorless, and they do now, if I took the white one of this and went over this black, it covers over whatever color you put on it. So the brighter colors, like I'll do a few accents on this here with the white marker in a minute, do cover on the dark colors. So that's kind of a nice thing about it too. If you make an oopsie and you need to color over something, you can, and you get a good result with these Sharpie markers. So this one, I'm going to let dry for a moment. And off camera here, for the reason being is we are going to rough it up with the sander or the emery board here in a minute, just around the edges. And then I might do an accent or two with the white marker on this, just because it is so dark and the accents kind of pop it off a little bit. So, all right. So our next tag number 3 is this ice cream cone and the cone base. And this is going to go right over the top. Our sample one, I'll just bring it down real quick. Our sample one I did in brown and made it chocolate, and it's just too brown against this cutting board for me. So we're going to do pink on top and pink on the drips, and then I've got a bronzy kind of marker that we'll do this bottom part with. So we'll start working on that, and then if you see, here's those accents we're going to make with the white marker. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do first is get out my pink marker. There it is. This again is one in that Sharpie set. The set of 12, if I did not say already, they are available, I know, on Amazon for $20 for 12. And you can get them in this brush or a bullet tip. Okay. And there's just 12 colors. There isn't a huge variety like these are my Arteza markers that you get that set of 40. There's not that many in there, but these are, I like to say they're a different kind of marker. They go on flat, they go light over dark. They're just a different kind of marker than that Arteza, but that has its place too. But I wanted to try these because they are new to the market, and I like to let you guys know what's new, what's worth trying, what's worth skipping. I would give these a try, even if you want to try with the 5 color. I'm not sure what colors come in it. I like the variety of the 12 color, but I wish they had a kind of a flesh colored marker. They really don't have one, whereas that Arteza has a really good flesh colored. They have 3 or 4 for your darker and lighter flesh tones that work really great. You have a little more variety. And I always struggle to find good flesh toned items. So now if you've got any comments, be sure to put them in. Suggestions, if you like, hey, Susie, I'd love to see this in a box, especially if you're a box member. I pay attention to those things and add things. They tell me what they've liked from the past. They share things. We have a little private group on Facebook that we go on, and I'll post sneak peeks, and they will share their finished projects, that type of thing. And again, if you want to join our box, all you have to do is go to that wait list, the speckledloon.com wait list or /wait list, and then that will come up, and you just have to put your name and email address in there, and then tomorrow I will send you the link to purchase your kit. But that's what that coverage you get with the pink, and it's kind of a muted pink, which is great for me, I think, for an ice cream color, because I feel personally that ice cream has got more muted colors to it that's not super bright. Now I'm going to look how it's going to be placed on here, because the other thing that I need to color in are the drips. But I don't need to go all the way up here. I basically just need to go here and down. Okay. So I'm just making that now. I'm going to color in the cone part first, and then I'm going to do the drips. So it will cover up any oopsie daisies that I do. Okay. So we're going to do that again. I'm going to switch out for a second and just try something different. It's a little easier for me to see. So I'm going to have to get up close and personal with this, and hopefully you can see okay. I'll again tape this down, bring it up if I have to. Okay, so I'm going to do this kind of a bronzy brown. It's called yellow ochre down here, and I feel like it's the color of a waffle cone. It's a little darker than the color that's here. You could probably just leave this and it would look okay, but we'll see if we can see a difference when I color with the yellow ochre. Now, the nice thing about the Arteza ones that I was talking about, it comes in a set of 40. You can do the fat ones, or you can get this fine tip one, and they all come in the same color. So if you need to do fine tip on part and broad tip on another part, it's really comes in handy. So like where I do my fine tip ones, or if I need to get in here where it's going to be intersecting with that pink, okay? I like to get in there with the fine tip ones and do the detail work first around those drip areas. And then I'm going to come in with the bigger one and do that. So now I have some users that don't like using paint markers. That's fine. That's up to them. That's the beauty of these unfinished projects, is you get to finish them however you like. And that's why I give them to you unfinished. Sometimes I'll give them to you started. I like to use the example of in our fall kit, there will be a sunflower project. I'm giving you a hint right now. And I am going to give you those sunflowers with a base coat of a golden yellow. And then I'm going to show you how to shade them in a gradient way. Because basically, sunflowers are usually always yellow, right? If you want to make them into a daisy and paint them white, you can go ahead when you get them. But I'm going to start them out for you with a base coat of yellow. And then you will be adding your highlights and your gradation with different things that I give you for the fall kit. So that is just a little hint for you. Now you can see how this is looking. I feel with this addition of color, it looks a little bit more like a waffle cone, right? Anybody remember, this is like smell-o-vision. Do you remember back in, I guess it was the 90s, when TCBY was big and you'd go in there and smell those waffle cones? Weren't those just about the best smelling thing ever? I used to work at a store in the 90s. This is a real 90s thing, a video store that was next to a TCBY. And I smelt those things my whole darn shift. Oh my God, it was like heaven. And you can see then I go to use that bigger marker, then just how quick that gets done. And if you can see on this waffle cone, it's already got some lines in it, which is really cool. And if you ever were working with this and you got too much paint in your lines, you can take a pin or that toothpick that I give you, or just a straight pin from a sewing kit, and just drag it down those lines, and that will get any goopy paint out of there. But this is how I think you can kind of see. I'll put it up there again, but you can see the detail on that and how nice that looks already. So now what we're going to do is we are going to color in pink here all of those little details, okay? And if you are just joining us, please say hi. I appreciate it. I'm going to get that pink pen out again, pink marker. And it's that brush tip. That's the nice thing about the brush tip. You're able to get right in there and get that painted. I usually start a little bit away from my line, and these lines are etched in with my laser. They've got a little deepness to them, but they're not cut all the way through. They're what you call a scored line or an etched line, but the technical term is that they are scored in. Okay. And I'll go a little bit above this line because, like I said, I don't have to bother and waste paint up here. It's just going to get covered up anyway. I might do this because that's going to show. And maybe just edge a little around the line so nothing pokes through that is raw. But I'm going to continue on here. And that's the nice thing about these markers. It looks lighter right now where I'm doing it, but soon that will just blend right in. And it's all the same color. And like I said, that you get very precise with this brush. You can do your broad strokes like I was on the side. And then when I want to get close in here and get right up to that line, I use that thinner edge and just get right up there. And a lot of you have been asking about these Sharpie markers, so I did go out and buy them to test. I don't get things. I'm not that big and fancy. Nobody's sending me anything for free to test. I got some free paint from Plaid Paints for to put in one of our boxes back. I think it was the fall box last year. But other than that, I don't get things sent to me, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I will give you my true opinion on a product if it's worth your while or not. So that is the finished part of our cone. And that's what that's going to look like. So I've got the cone part, the drip, and the overlay all painted now. And you can kind of see how that gives that 3D look to it once you get it all put together. Okay, so now we're going to go around on each piece and see if we need to put any accents on it, any distressing, that type of thing. And I'm going to tell you on the star, I'm not going to do any distressing. I am just going to figure out what angle I want my star at, and I'm going to turn it around. Now this is what it looks like straight. This is what it looks like on the one I have here. And that's what it looks like here. Now I think for this one, since I've done one straight and I've done one at that angle, I'm going to do this angle. And what I like to do then, if that's the angle I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it over so I know that, and keep this at the top. So now all I need to do is glue these two pieces together. I'm going to get some clamps out. So once it's done and I have it aligned, I can just clamp it and make sure that I get a nice good set. The glue I'm using is called Starbond Thick. I do give you a small tube of a similar super glue. It's actually, I think it's Gorilla Glue, but it's a gel super glue, and you have a few seconds before it sets up, but you don't have a lot of time. And you have a fine applicator tip on yours. But if you need just a teeny bit, you just take and you put it on the end of a toothpick and you can apply it that way. If you need, let's just say on this tip, I want just a little bit. But this project here has got these stripes. So what I like to do is just do a thin little couple dots or a strip down the stripes. And then it's more like in the middle of the project and it doesn't really ooze out the end. But you can do one on each tip if you want. Okay. And remember now I said I wanted this to be my top. So, and I know that this is the top because it's got the little hole up there where we are going to be attaching our string and bead. So what I like to do is, you see, I don't have them touching yet. I like to get them kind of lined up with a finger, especially like at the star, a finger in every place where every indentation, I guess, to make sure it's not lopsided anywhere. And that's the stars are kind of the easiest ones to put together. Sometimes a circle or a square are the hardest. But if I do that almost right away, it's lined up. And from the back, you can't tell anything's thicker or sticking out or anything. So these little guys here are from the Dollar Tree. There's a set. I had given a set as a crafting tool in the past, but you can also use clothespins if you are not able to find any of these. But usually you can find them either in a 2-pack like this at the Dollar Tree or a 6-pack of these small ones for 5 quarters, $1.25. Okay, so while that one is resting, setting, whatever, I'm going to say hello to Georgie. Georgie joined us. She joined us earlier. Oh, that is somebody else's comment. Excuse me, my mouse is, I don't have a piece of paper down there. But Georgie says hi. Hi, Georgie. And if anybody else is on here, say hi, give us a like, give us a wave, whatever you want to do in the comments. But once this is dry, we're going to just take our string and bead and throw it through there, and it's going to be ready to mount on our cutting board tag. So that is what this looks like, okay? So we're going to set that aside. I'm going to set this finished one aside just to get it out of the way. Okay. So now I said on this one, I want to use a white marker. And I'm going to use a different brand, but I'm going to use a white marker to do some accents on it. Okay, get that out of the way. All right, so what I'm going to do here, this is yet another brand of marker. I like this white marker. I have some in this set here. But it's kind of watered down and then it dries out really easy. Whereas this one kind of stays, you just pump it a little and then it gets going. But this one stays pretty good, as you can see. What I like to do is follow the curves of a project and just add a little white accent here and there. Kind of a dash, couple of dots. You can see, and it adds a little bit more to the project, in my opinion. This is optional. You don't have to do this step, but I find it works out kind of nice, especially like when there's curves. I like to do boop. And then this has got a little black accent there, so I'll go against that. Kind of like, if you add the whites of the eyes, that type of thing. It's just that little extra added oomph that adds a little something to a project. Totally optional. I used to not do it, and now I do it all the time. Don't want to overdo it. You just kind of want it here and there. But that is how I am going to add it. Let's see, I'll get it right up close so you can kind of see those accents. This pink doesn't show up. It's nearly as pretty on camera as it is in person. The pink and the brown together give it a nice look, I feel. So now this one's ready to just be put together. So on this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a few drops on the base, on this base piece itself, right in here, and a couple of drops here and there. This is made of MDF. It's an MDF wood. That's medium density fiberboard, as is this. And bare MDF to bare MDF of this with this glue is like such a strong bond. You better be sure when you put it together, because you're never going to get them apart, is the thing, unless it's within the first few seconds. So here what I'm doing is I'm taking here and I'm looking at my edges, making sure I have got everything even Steven and nothing peeking over more one side than the other. And I've got my top lined up, leaving just that loop at the top. And I'm just going to borrow my little mini clamps. Okay, and set that aside. I'm going to just put my star up here because that'll get it out of the way. And then we are going to go to work on our final one. Then we will get our string and beads on, and then I'll show you what they look like on the board, and we'll be done for the day. I try to keep these down as an hour or less. So, and we are at, what are we at now? 42 minutes. So we're on schedule. So like I said, what I want to do with this one is I'm going to take the emery board to it. And what I like to do with the emery board on a black is just right along the edges, especially for a farmhouse piece, because look what that does. If you can see, yep, you can kind of see there. It kind of gives it that rustic, weathered. I mean, this is a weather vane on top of a barn, let's say. And I grew up on a farm. So it's like nothing on a farm is well. If it sits outside, it looks like crap after a while, but we'll just call it rustic just because, these are decor pieces. But sitting outside in the weather, especially I grew up and still live in North Dakota, the weather is rough on things and everything looks a little rough. And if you go across here in the middle, you're going to get your little uneven patches. But this little emery board comes in your kit, and it's quite a handy little tool. And if it gets dirty, you just kind of brush the dust off if you get too much black paint on it or whatever. And I'm trying not to shake the table, get you dizzy. But it just gives it, too, also that matte look if you're looking for that matte look. And it just sets it off a little bit. If you can see, like there and like here. I'm trying to get this so you can see what a difference that makes. Now, if this isn't your style, if you like it crisp black and 100% perfect, that's how you paint your piece. I just want my pieces to look, especially for this summer and especially for the farmhouse pieces, I want them to look a little more rustic. You know, to me, that's farmhouse to me. Now, if I wanted, I could do, you know, just a little bit here and there. I'm not going to do a ton because I kind of got the accents that I wanted with this. No, Lord. With the sanding. Made a whoopsie there, but I'll fix that. So that's about all I'm going to do is just a little bit here and there with that. But I'll bring that up so you can kind of see closer what that looks like distressed and accented. Okay, and if I changed my mind and I didn't like those white accents, I'd just go over them again with the black marker and sand it a little further, and it'd be fine. Or if I wanted to tone them down, I can just sand them too. And you can see then that just tones them down and gives them that even more of a rustic look. So let's do that. Because it's just a little too stark for me. And I just want it very subtle. I don't want the white to be screaming, hey, here's an accent. So now remember when I said this one's so easy to place on here because this little stick on the weather vane lines up perfectly with the middle of this tobacco basket. And I just want to get it. And what I'm doing is having the middle of that, the end of that stick be right at the end here. And it just makes for an easier application. So I'm going to make sure, because I know this stick is going to have contact with the tobacco basket. And I'm just putting some random here. And this has got a lot of holes in it. And it's like, okay, where's it going to hit? You know, I know we're kind of covered in the middle, so I'll probably put a little bit there. But I don't want a lot of, you don't need much glue. And I don't like excess oozing out or anything. So I'm going to, oops, I touched the super glue. I better watch what I touch now. So I'm going to do that and just I'm just making sure that this part here is nice and straight. Then I'm going to know the rest of it is on there just fine. And I'm going to take my clips and maybe do a third one down here and just let that set while I go to work on my other pieces. So once you have all your accents done, and I'm going to show you the name of this. This is Artistro, and you can get those on Amazon too. They come in individual, or you can buy them in a 6-pack. And I'll give you a hint. I am testing these out to put in a future box. I'm also testing out these metallic markers to possibly be in a future box. So that's like one of our bonus crafting tools. So just keep that in mind, that when you see me using something, if it's a cool tool that I really like, you might see it in a future box. Okay, so we've got everything here set, ready to put a string and a bead on. And you'll see on the finished one how that works is I loop a string through, and I put one of these small little spacer beads on there. And then when it rests on the cutting board, it just gives it that more finished look. Okay, so that is why we do the bead. And whenever I do a string and a bead, I give you a little bread tie to use to string it. And these bread ties, what I have done is I have went ahead, because these are tiny beads. I knew ahead of time the big thick bread tie wouldn't go through. So I just cut with my scissors on either side of the wire, and I just kept the wire intact. And I always give you way more string than you need. And then you just take where it's a loop and you loop your bread tie through there. And I just like to get it end to end, and I make a needle out of it. And it's pliable enough, but it's stiff enough to where it gets through those holes. Then the first thing I do is I pull it through, and then you have this loop. And I take the bread tie out of there. And then I just take the string and pull that like that. So you have a little loop just like this. And then that's on there. It's not a knot or anything, and it looks really nice. And then I just take my bread tie, I put it back on like so, and then I'll cut some of this extra. I always give you way more than you need, just because it's like, well, you can use the extra for something, but I get the biggest spool of string you'd ever did see. So we've got that like that. Okay. And I think I've got some scissors on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it off so I have a little bit, enough to go around and make a bow around the neck of that little cutting board. So I'm just going to cut off my excess. And these are nice fabric scissors I got at Walmart on closeout. They're that Pioneer Woman. They're so fancy. And what I like to do is I like to put my item on, get my string all undone, and then I just like to tie it around the back like a shoelace bow, and then it's really easy to remove when I want to put on my next piece of decor. If I did a knot, then I'd have to cut it. So if I just do a shoelace bow, then it makes it easy to remove. The other thing you could do is tighten it up with like a clear elastic, and then just remove that when it's time. Gotta see what I'm doing here. There. And then you have got your ice cream one that is ready to display. So then I'm going to continue here. I won't tie each one on, but I will get the string and bead on each one. We'll do our tobacco basket next, since it's sitting up here with the weather vane. This one, and we're just going to repeat the same thing. And that's the nice thing about the kits that I give you. Other than the paint, everything you need to complete the kit, if I use a ribbon, if I use beads, if we're doing a garland, if we're doing anything, it is included in the kit. You just need to decorate it. And the glue, I even give you the glue. It's just a small little tube, but it's more than enough to complete all your projects. And I tell you what I use, so if you need to go out and get more. And in addition to these videos where I craft live, there is a full YouTube tutorial as well. So that is kind of nice. If you're with me, if you kind of want to say hi, that's great. I would appreciate it. So here I'm pulling this. Again, same thing. No knot needed, right? I'm going to cut off my excess here now. Just makes it easier to work with. I don't know. Really don't know why I give you 10 times more than you need, but I do. It's a big thing of string. It lasts me forever. So there we go. And we get our little bead here. And I'm a beadaholic. I search the world for fun beads to use. When we do a garland, they're often themed. But there is that. And then that is what your tobacco basket one looks like on there. Okay. And then we've got your final one. I'm going to just get rid of that nasty piece of tape there. Our final one is the star. And if you had a little bead that you wanted to do and it was red, white, and blue or something, then by all means you can do that. But I give you everything you need to finish it. And it's yours to accent how you want. That's what my users have told me they like. They like the options. They like the video. They like that the kits are complete. They're well packaged. They're labeled. And you might think this looks like a lot of projects. It's over 20 in the box, but they're mostly small and easily completed in an afternoon or two. Like we did 3 projects start to finish in an hour and very little prep work. So, and these are bigger projects. Like I said, the other projects are very small, all smaller than the palm of your hand for the most part. Okay, so we're going to get that last bead on. And our last tag will be done. Now, again, I said if you have any questions about our box, you just reach out. You can reply or message me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Or you can go ahead and just shoot me an email or a private message. That's fine. Or even in the comments, if you don't mind the public comment. And then that is our other one on there. So these are the 3 tags that we did today. We did the ice cream cone tag, we did the 4th of July star tag, and we did the farm life weather vane tag. And these are the 3 tags that you get in your kit, and they are meant to be mounted on this little cutting board that comes with a stand, so it is ready to display with your projects. So I am going to just swap the camera here, and we're going to wrap things up for today. So I'm going to, don't get dizzy now. You're going to be upside down for a minute. Okay, see if I can get my face in here and have it not flop back on me. And then we'll get rid of that out of the way. There, we are done. So what did you guys think of today's project? Does it look doable? Did you feel like they were pretty easy? Here's that, we'll look at them again. And I just feel like the pink does not get justice on this camera. I'm struggling with lighting always and camera angles, but that is the pink cone that goes on the cutting board. That's from our ice cream shop. And I'm going to do this so it will, and I'll move this back here a little bit so you can see how that nicely it sits on that little stand. And the stand is a 2-piece stand that slips apart and folds flat. And everything that you do not use on your display, you can tuck away in the box that it comes in. But this is the ice cream cone one. This is our beautiful star that we did, the red and white star. And that hangs on here as well. And then the third one is our weather vane. Again. And that's front and back. Oh yeah, it spins. And that's our weather vane project that we did, the rooster on the tobacco basket. And that goes on there like that. So that is our 3 items. Again, tomorrow we're launching that box. It's our summer box. If you're like Stacy or Susan that have been watching, they are members and their boxes are going to get shipped out to them, in the next few days. And then I have some that I made extra for new members. And if you are interested in that, it's streaming down below here. It says thespeckledloon.com/waitlist/ and I have it pinned to the top of the comments if you just want to click right on it and go to there. You sign up on that wait list, and then you'll get an email tomorrow morning with the link for you to join. And I have just a handful of openings like I do every quarter. So I want to thank you for joining me. Again, my name is Susie. I am the owner of the Speckled Loon. And we made these 3 tags today. And and I'm going to be coming on later in the week to talk about the kit some more. And then next week, we are going to be doing a giveaway to celebrate our 9th anniversary in business of some finished projects and some finished decor. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, reach out via direct message, and we will get back to you. You guys have a great Monday afternoon, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.